Merci d'être ici avec nous aujourd'hui, alors que nous ferons le point sur notre utilisation des caméras d'intervention. I want to welcome Assistant Commissioner Scott McMurtry, the Commanding Officer of Manitoba RCMP, to the podium to say a few words. So, j'invite le commissaire adjoint Scott McMurtry, commandant divisionnaire de la GRC au Manitoba, à venir prononcer quelques mots.
Good afternoon, everyone. So just over a year ago, the Manitoba RCMP began providing its officers with body-worn cameras to improve our transparency and to be more accountable to the communities that we proudly serve. Today, I'm pleased to announce that the province-wide rollout of our body-worn camera system to our frontline officers is very nearly complete. In fact, 98% of all officers working frontline policing duties in detachments across Manitoba are now equipped with body-worn cameras. Without a doubt, they have quickly become an incredible and beneficial and important tool for all of our officers. It has provided frontline officers with many useful tools that make everyday policing easier, such as taking statements, obtaining photos of scenes, evidence, and suspects. Currently, there are nearly 650 RCMP officers across Manitoba who have been trained and equipped with the body-worn camera system. From those cameras, the Manitoba RCMP has accumulated nearly 175,000 pieces of evidence in the form of videos, images, audio statements, and documents. More than 1,500 digital case shares of evidence have been compiled from body-worn cameras and have been provided to Manitoba Prosecution Services, and these numbers are growing rapidly every day. Ultimately, body-worn cameras have been essential to many investigations and have contributed directly to enhancing the trust and accountability with the communities that we serve. In a moment, we'll be able to show a short video showing footage gathered by body-worn camera filmed by officers on duty. We felt it was important to release this footage today and give Manitobans a look at what is being captured. And we'll also have the opportunity for you folks to hear directly from two of our officers who have used these cameras during the course of their duties. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I will now reread the remarks in French. Je vais maintenant relire les propos en français. Il y a un peu plus d'un an, la GRC au Manitoba a commencé à fournir des caméras d'intervention à ses policiers afin d'améliorer notre transparence et responsabilité envers la collectivité que nous servons si fièrement. Aujourd'hui, je suis heureux d'annoncer que le déploiement des caméras d'intervention pour nos policiers de première ligne à l'échelle de la province est presque terminé. En effet, 98 de tous les policiers exerçant des fonctions de première ligne dans les détachements de la province sont maintenant équipés d'une caméra d'intervention. Il ne fait aucun doute que ces caméras sont rapidement devenues un outil incroyablement utile et important pour nos policiers. La caméra d'intervention fournit aux policiers de première ligne de nombreux outils utiles qui facilitent leur travail au quotidien, comme la prise de déclaration et l'obtention de photos des scènes, des preuves et de suspects. Actuellement, environ 650 policiers de la GRC au Manitoba sont équipés d'une caméra d'intervention et ont été formés pour l'utiliser. Grâce à ces caméras, la GRC au Manitoba a accumulé près de 175 000 éléments de preuve sous forme de vidéos, d'images, de déclarations audio et de documents. En outre, plus de 1500 dossiers numériques contenant des preuves recueillies à l'aide de caméras d'intervention ont été envoyés au service des poursuites du Manitoba. Ces chiffres augmentent rapidement chaque jour. Finalement, les caméras d'intervention ont joué un rôle essentiel dans de nombreuses enquêtes et ont contribué directement à renforcer la confiance du public et la responsabilité envers les collectivités que nous servons. Dans un instant, nous présenterons une courte vidéo montrant des séquences filmées par les caméras d'intervention portées par des policiers manitobains dans l'exercice de leurs fonctions. Nous avons estimé qu'il est important de diffuser ces images pour donner aux Manitobains un aperçu de ce qui est enregistré. Nous aurons également l'occasion d'entendre directement deux de nos policiers parler de leurs expériences relatives à l'utilisation des caméras d'intervention dans l'exercice de leurs fonctions. Merci. We're going to show the video.
Look at this right here. Body cam. Had it activated. Saw you throw a gun up on the roof.
Drop that, my friend.
Hello! We're here to help! Stop. Put your hand on your back. You're under arrest.
Can I finish my chocolate bar?
No.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, it's in the speaker. No, this. Oh, this. Because the dresser.
You're under arrest. Get on board.
These are dealt with and we can figure something out.
Yeah, we got cocaine.
Nice.
So as mentioned, joining us today are two officers that are available to answer any questions on their experience with body-worn cameras. We have Corporal Janelle Hulen from the Major Crime Services. She just came back from Shamattawa, where she was posted for a couple years. We also have Sergeant Mark Hume from the Manitoba RCMP Northwest Traffic Services. We also have Steve Rogers, manager of the body-worn camera unit, available to answer any technical questions, and I'm available to answer questions in French. Comme mentionné, deux agents de la GRC se joignent à nous aujourd'hui pour répondre à toutes les questions concernant leur expérience de l'utilisation de la caméra d'intervention. La caporale Janelle Hulen, des services des crimes majeurs de la GRC au Manitoba, qui vient de terminer un tour à Shamattawa. Et nous avons le sergent Mark Hume, des services de la circulation du nord-ouest de la GRC au Manitoba. Nous avons également Steve Rogers, responsable du groupe des caméras d'intervention, qui peut répondre aux questions techniques, et je suis disponible pour répondre aux questions en français. At this time, we'll open the floor to questions for the commanding officer or any other officers. Vous pouvez maintenant poser vos questions au commandant divisionnaire ou à nos policiers.
Hi, Matt Humphrey with CBC Manitoba. I have more of a question around accountability and transparency. For the cameras, that was heavily edited, and we had heard earlier about some of the rigmarole or the process that it takes to be able to share with the public footage, including, and I imagine there are privacy concerns and concerns around impeding an ongoing investigation as well. But given the hope for the cameras is to increase the accountability and transparency, are there plans for a mechanism in the future where the footage could become, raw footage could become public sooner or quicker?
Yeah, there's ongoing discussions with respect to that. So in order for us to provide this video to you folks today, it took some time, took some steps. As commanding officer, I have authority to have video footage released when it's in the public interest. So we felt, given where we're at in terms of the deployment of camera systems across the province, that this was important in the public interest, that we're able to show folks, show the media what it is, snippets of what our officers are capturing in the field on the camera systems. But that does have to go through Ottawa, through national headquarters, communications, and then be signed off actually by the privacy commissioner. So it does take some time. In terms of accountability, we've had officer-involved events. I'll just encapsulate that, where we unedited video is sent directly to, for example, the Independent Investigation Unit of Manitoba. If we have officer conduct concerns, video is shared with our Professional Responsibilities Unit that conducts those internal investigations in terms of officers' conduct. So this system, it's a great evidentiary tool, it's an officer safety tool, it's an accountability tool, both for the public and for the officers. My expectation as commanding officer of the RCMP is that our officers always act with integrity, professionalism, and do the best of the job to the best of their ability. And having this camera system for them, should any of them not follow that direction, there is an accountability process for that.
You talked about some of the numbers, pieces of evidence that's being used. How many times has video been used going to IIU or to professional standards with events that were maybe concerning?
So I'm aware of two two, we'll say what it is, the member-involved shootings that have gone recently to IIU. So the full video package has gone to IIU for their review. So, and those investigations are still underway by them.
And then
What about professional standards, sorry?
Professional standards, I don't have exact numbers. I would say we're probably, would hate to give you but there has been a number of video files have been provided to our professional standards units for the purpose of conduct investigations or investigations. So they look at internal conduct, so members' conduct, but as well public complaints that come in, whether they're directly from the public or come through the Civilian Review and Complaints Commission. So any public complaint, our professional responsibilities unit is also responsible for the oversight of those investigations. So any of those investigations where there is body-worn camera evidence, that is provided to them for their review.
What about defense attorneys?
So that was part of the disclosure. And again, I'm a few days out of the field nowadays from doing disclosure, but yes. Our disclosure, when we prepare disclosure for any type of a court case, whether it's an impaired driver, an assault, theft, it doesn't matter what the case is. The process is that all evidence that the RCMP gather is provided to the Crown, who is then obliged to provide that directly to defense.
The raw footage.
And
I
then
realize this is a bit theoretical, but you said that you have the ability, along with these other steps, to release footage to be in the public interest. I mean, what do you anticipate would be considered, in the public interest?
Well, we've had lots of discussions about this as we were planning the implementation and rolling this out. If we had a situation in a community where a community leader came forward and said, listen, this is what I was told, that something happened, or there's something happened in one of the RCMP cell blocks in one of our detachments. We can then quickly review that video, and if it is in the public interest to bring that community leader in or that person, the direct person involved, so the person that we are recording has a right to see that recording, right? And that has been used in the field with officers where they may perhaps have arrested somebody and the person, can I see the video? And they're shown the video. So that can be done right then and there. There's no issues or concerns with that. But in the larger scale, if there's, in order to, and it's about accountability and transparency. So if it's in the public interest where we need to provide and have that video shown to a community leader or to a family member to, ensure that they have the understanding of exactly what took place in that situation, we can do that.
Is that happening right now, and how often? Because
So-
we get people all the time that come to media saying this happened, whatnot. I'm assuming that you're not gonna just hand us the video if it involves somebody, but how often are people coming up being like, this happened, this was the situation, and you're taking them in and actually showing them?
I would say it's happened maybe a handful of times at the detachment community level, just, between an officer or a supervisor and the individual involved. We haven't, to my knowledge, had a request from a community leader or an advocacy group. Or anybody from that realm has not made a request to see something.
So some of these ones that have gone to IIU, once those investigations are complete, whether there are charges or there are not charges, would that video be made public because they've obviously been deemed in the public interest by going to IIU?
Yeah, that's something that'll have to be reviewed and considered once those investigations are completed. So, and we also have to respect the privacy of the family and the individual involved in that as well. Right? So there's a bit of a twofold responsibility. We're capturing video that's being used as evidence, but if we have an unfortunate, a tragic incident that's been recorded on body-worn camera, we're going to have some direct conversations with that family as to what they're comfortable with in having provided.
You mentioned evidence gathering. Has there been any instances of perhaps an investigation being expedited with the use of body cams?
So I do know, just anecdotally here from some recent files, there's been some recent files that have gone to the IIU where there's been a use of force. So not, nothing serious, but still a use of force that resulted in our referral of a matter to the IIU. And they've been able to quickly look at the body worn camera video, look at the officer statements, gather a few other witness statements from others that were involved or present, and have cleared those investigations a little bit faster than they have been able to in the past. So it's an investigative aid for them as well.
And because there's been so much evidence gathered from the cameras, which has been useful, would it not make sense for police then to advise the public, when safe to do so, to also record altercations with police on their cell phones? Because that way investigators would have extra angles to examine a situation.
Well, the fact, folks using their cellular devices to record police interaction has been around as long as cellular devices and video capacity has been available. It's not my place or officer's place to say that, oh, citizens should be recording. This is Canada. People can record video of whatever they're doing as long as they're not interfering in somebody's privacy, I would say. You know, if it's something that's out in the public, people are free to do so. But again, when if I'm thinking of a large scale investigation, whether it's a major crimes or investigation or something, our investigators canvass the public and canvass witnesses for whether they have cell video. You'll see those in media releases, you know, dash cam video, home video, security videos. That's part of our investigative processes in all cases, right? We canvass witnesses, anybody that may have information or evidence, please provide it. So it's, you know, the more the better, as far as I'm concerned.
And then in terms of deterring crime, have we seen any results?
You know, I think some of our officers can probably speak to that a little bit. I am told that in terms of it's been a beneficial de-escalation tool. So you may arrive on at a call for service, and you know you're arriving into a situation that is volatile. Maybe there's been an assault happening or something, and if the individuals that you're interacting with are aware of the camera, so you know we're not legally obliged to tell people you're on camera, but some of our officers just do that really, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. It's as and when they see fit to suit whatever whatever incident that they're responding to, right? So I've been told by officers that they've told people, hey, you're on camera, and it calms things down. It has been a good de-escalation tool, right? People recognize, well, I better, you know, maybe not say, not be yelling and screaming, and be a little bit more cooperative. And also, and on the reverse of that, it also can demonstrate that our officers are conducting themselves in a professional, responsible manner. That we're not yelling and screaming and escalating a situation. Again, like going back to professional, professional responsibilities, you know, should a complaint come in that, you know, the actions of an officer escalated or caused something, you know, we would use that video evidence to conduct that investigation to determine what exactly took place.
Have you had pushback from officers? I mean, that was one of the things that there was concern about at the beginning of rollout, was that people weren't gonna wanna wear them. You had some that were really keen to, for the reasons you're saying, but others that were maybe wanting to be some of those holdouts. Have you had that pushback?
Not directly. I've heard anecdotally that people were like really concerned about that, but it's policy. It's part of the uniform and kit, and members are expected when on duty to wear them and use them. So there's really no question whatsoever. And now, for the most part, now that it's been rolled out, I have heard nothing of a negative connotation or
So what's
Speaking
the
of that-
2% of agents that aren't equipped with the cameras then?
So we have people that are off-duty sick, on medical leave and so forth, so it's catching up a few of those. Or they may have been, when the camera system and the team rolled out to that detachment to deploy, set everybody up, train everybody, somebody might have been on holidays or away for a different purpose, so it's just picking off those ones and twos, those individual members.
So all detachments have gotten them, yet it's just getting those handful
Correct,
editors.
yeah, and then we're literally down to a handful.
One of the
So
issues- go ahead.
speaking of policy, in terms of the use, I mean, is the expectation for officers, this thing is on, I mean, unless you're going to the washroom or eating a sandwich on your lunch break, like it's supposed to be on for the duration of your shift, and if it's not, there's an issue, or what's the
Well,
policy?
it's, and I may get Steve, it's really, to answer that question, I'm not specific to the policy, but yeah, when they're responding to a call for service, so they may be driving to the call, when they exit their vehicle to go to the house or to go wherever it is, they turn it on, it's activated, right? And then it will stay activated throughout that call for service until they're done. But yeah, our officers are not expected to have them on in the office when they're just sitting around and doing their paperwork or having lunch or whatever.
But every time they respond to a call, it has to be on as possible.
I know you can't speak for the Winnipeg Police Service, but it's been reported that they are gonna be monitoring this rollout to inform their own decision about body cams. Is it fair to say that you would recommend that other police bodies like the WPS implement these body cams, given how beneficial you say it is?
Yeah, that would be a recommendation. I have had some, just some brief discussions with Chief Bowers of WPS. We've had different situations and issues, collaborate on a number of things, but yeah, they've directly asked about how we're seeing body worn camera rollout go. And from my perspective, it's been positive. It's been beneficial to both our officers in both of the communities and the communities that we serve. So it is my recommendation that that they look at something, they look at a system themselves, and but ultimately at the end of the day, that's between Chief Bowers, the WPS service, and the City of Winnipeg.
How do you monitor whether an agent does turn on their camera while they're doing a call? Cause it's an action that they have to make, right? So how do you check whether it's been on at every single call?
Well, calls are dispatched, so when they're dispatched from our comm center, there's a file generated, right? So for the most part, every file generated, and if there's an officer response, there should be camera. If there's not, then the supervisor, it's the responsibility of the supervisor at the detachment or the unit to inquire with the officer or officers as to why or why not the camera was not being utilized.
Have you had many of those cases?
I think there's been a few. I would hazard a guess that there has been a few and it's been addressed. And we're human beings, right? Police officers are human beings. Depending on the nature of the call, they might forget or they might push the button and miss it, and I think our frontline officers can probably explain that a little bit better than I can myself.
This may be a technical question, more of a technical question, but the files once recorded, can they be deleted from the device or?
Yeah, I'll get Steve to, sure, come on up. Yeah, I'll get Steve to answer that one, because that's beyond my
Steve,
my
can you also
expertise.
give us say and spell your first and last name and your title so we have
Steve Rogers, Steve, Rogers, Rogers, the D Division Body Worn Camera Program Manager. Sorry, can you?
Yeah, if one body worn cameras has been activated to record, can that file be deleted in the field?
Not in the field, it's on the camera until the officer puts it into the dock to upload it to the cloud. From there is a capacity to delete videos. Just there are things we record that we don't necessarily want out for security reasons. And then someone like me or the detachment commander, that level of supervisor, are the only ones who can actually action that deletion request.
Can you take us a bit through the process? I imagine there's not somebody sitting there watching footage as it's coming in on like a big surveillance or something. Just explain to us how it works and where all that footage ends up.
Yeah, so an officer will take the video on their camera, and when they're done their shift, they'll put it on the dock to offload that video into our server, and then kind of recharge their camera. From there, it could just sit there and not be looked at, because nothing is actually going to happen further. At which point it'll eventually purge. Sometimes it goes into criminal proceedings, which then it gets shared with the Crown and Defense. Yeah, I'm not sure.
How long would something like that sit there? Like if somebody comes forward with a complaint in 2 months or 3 months, is that footage gone? Is it stored somewhere?
So the default retention period is 2 years. And then if nothing is criminal is going to happen, but then it also ties in with our record management system and ties into their retention period. So if it's something like a homicide, it's going to be 100 years effectively. It's supposed to stay on there. And different file types will have different retention periods.
One of the concerns when this was being rolled out was the ability to actually store all of this. Has that been addressed?
So this is more of a national answer, I would say, but people in Ottawa did the contract for this. And therein they contracted out that the vendor would actually take care of the server storage, so it's not actually costing the RCP anything. We could take one video or a million videos and it's still gonna cost us the same effectively.
Do we have a ballpark for how much it costs to outfit every officer in Manitoba with the cameras?
The camera itself is $3,000 per member per year.
How many members?
We're looking at around 650
Yeah,
at this point.
47.
Yeah, I think it's actually increased as of yesterday, but yeah.
Congratulations.
It was estimated at 2 million actually last year. Is that about right, or did you go above that?
Just doing quick math, I thought it was maybe more
Okay.
2.7, but yeah, I don't have a calculator in front of me.
Would it help with accountability and transparency if there was a rolling record camera, say in the cruiser?
I can answer that one. So, not all of our vehicles, it depends on location and connectivity, but a large majority of our frontline marked police vehicles have watchguard camera systems in place, right? So it's a different system, but they integrate together. So what's captured, I'll use an example perhaps of an impaired driver. So the officer's driving down the road and they see a vehicle weaving erratically, or the driving behavior is indicative or possibly of somebody that's driving under the influence. Of course, they'll activate their lights to initiate a traffic stop. The watchguard camera system comes on. There's audio, video recording of that as well. Then when the officer gets out of the vehicle to interact with that driver, the occupants of that vehicle, they have their body worn camera on. So we're gonna get car video, we're gonna get body worn camera video. If you have multiple officers at the scene, they all have their cameras on, you're gonna get video from all different angles of the scene.
You've spoken a lot about how this has helped in terms of trust and accountability and how it's been used in IIU investigations. But has this footage helped in any way in investigations that aren't related to police agents' behavior?
So to my knowledge, we've yet to have a request made from a leader, community leader, or an advocacy group to, in terms of a complaint or what happened in this community, where we've had to sit down and have a discussion, and when there's been video present, we haven't had one of those requests to my knowledge yet.
Do you think they know they're allowed to come to you and ask for that?
We do, there's been communication put out, and I think, and this is another venue for the public, the general public, and for community leaders, advocacy groups to understand that we have these systems in place. So there is video interaction of our officers, so if there is it just brings more awareness to it as well.
I have a question about the video you showed us. This is all a communication operation, obviously. What message or what takeaway are we supposed to get from that video?
I think that's up to each individual that's viewing it. These are just snippets of videos that we took from our field members involved in different interactions, right? You saw people being arrested, you saw people, just parts of videos, right? So, of course, each video itself was very, very long. Or we could be here if we wanted to play all those videos in their entirety, we'd be here all day.
But given that it was just little snippets and the actual interactions weren't shown in the video, do you think that conveys any kind of transparency to the public who are gonna watch that?
Well, I think it's just an opportunity for the public to see that things are captured on video, right? And the video is very clear, right? Even when the officer, even if they're moving, running, that video is quite stable, very clear. It's not grainy, it's not boggy. These things, they work in all types of weather, rain, snow. So it's just an opportunity for the public just to get a little bit of an understanding of what these camera systems can see and can show.
So it's more, you would say, to show that the cameras can film stuff clearly rather than actually showing specific instances of when they're used.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think this has helped members' ability to just do day-to-day policing? I mean, is this replacing contemporaneous notes and that sort of thing?
So I'm gonna turn it over to my field experts, if I may.
Doesn't matter, you can go first if you want. Yeah, it definitely helps. So I'm in the traffic services world. So, you know, a month ago, I had an impaired driver who refused to cooperate, provide a breath sample. So now I was wearing a body camera, so he's literally 3 feet in front of me as we're having a discussion. Right, all that evidence is on there. He can't later go and say, well, I didn't really refuse, you didn't give me a chance. It's all on there, plain and simple. You know, I can go back and say, this is how I read him his rights. I read every word of it. It was clear. You know, after arrest, I searched his vehicle for open liquor. You can see the open liquor bottles from my chest as I pick them up, right? Like all that evidence is there. There's no more, I guess, having to take someone's word for it. It's all plain and simple for a judge or a court or the public to see. So it's capturing a lot of evidence that we've always seen. It's just another way of articulating it. And I think, right, you believe more what you see than what you hear, so you can see it all now. That makes sense.
Would you like to see the ability to release some of that footage more freely? I know there's legislation in place, but as an officer that's having to deal with this day in and day out, and like you said, people don't always believe what you say. It's a lot easier for somebody to believe what you see, especially when it's not edited.
Well, I think-
Would that help with trust?
Yeah, as the CO said, like, it's gonna be released, I guess, when appropriate. Like, if someone's got a concern with something we've done, they can come see the video, or, you know, again, it depends on the context. If there's something, a major incident that the community is interested in, then they'll review it and see if it can be released. Right, it's still someone's privacy at the end of the day. There might be other people in the video other than just the person we're dealing with, right?
I mean, does it feel good to you knowing that there's, I mean, you know, impairs, for example, I mean, you know, there's often charter challenges about how,
Sure.
you know, a stop is conducted, that sort of thing. I mean, does this make you feel better about your ability to do your job and that it will, you know, make it through court?
Yeah, for sure. We were excited to get them. I don't know of anyone personally, any member that didn't want to get them. In the traffic world, it's not terribly new because we've had dash cameras in traffic for 15 or 20 years. So it's just another tool. That dash camera has one angle and one angle only. Literally, if me and the drunk driver step off 3 feet, I've lost him out of vision. Now this is seeing what I see, right? It's not the be all end all, but it's my main view of what's happening. So it's capturing all the evidence.
What
Right.
have your interactions been like with people when you, I mean, you can see it blinking, or whether you say, hey, just so you know, I'm wearing a body cam.
I've had very few people even commented on it. Most people just ask, oh, I see it's blinking, is it recording? And tell them no, green means no, red means yes, it's recording, and I've had nothing else. You bet.
Janelle can share some examples.
Yeah, so Sergeant Hume and I have different experiences, but I was a general duty officer in Shamattawa, and just attending calls for service, it's immediately noticeable to the person that I'm speaking to upon arrival. It has changed their behavior in multiple ways. It's been good and very accepted among the community, to be quite honest, especially in Shamattawa. So that red light immediately lets them know, and I also have gotten a habit of letting them know they're being recorded as well, just as kind of an introduction since it's so new. And it's been a positive thing in Shamattawa. Like, it's changed people's behaviors. It's allowed me to interact in a more safe manner, and it's nice when you go with a partner because it actually syncs with the other camera, so you get multiple angles as you're both doing an investigation. And it has been really good for us.
I'm curious about the psychology, because it's not necessarily like convenience store robberies. We know that cameras don't always deter crime, but in terms of that de-escalation, do you have an example of something that before the camera would have gone differently than with the camera?
Yeah, absolutely. I've attended multiple calls for domestics, especially. A lot of resistance upon letting me enter a residence, and sometimes people get physically violent when telling them, you know, I have an entry warrant. Unfortunately, you can't stop me from entering the premises because I'm looking for this individual. And they actually see this, and instead of fighting me now, they're realizing, okay, it's not just her word against mine. This is all being recorded. She's going to use this as evidence, and they actually step away. They may say one or two things, but it no longer becomes a physical confrontation. It is now a verbal, you know, disagreement that I can handle in a more professional manner versus going hands-on with somebody when that resistance comes forward.
How long have you personally been wearing the camera?
So I've been wearing the camera since this summer. In Shamattawa, we were issued, it was a rollout, so we were on the tail end of the rollout. So it was roughly around July when we started getting the cameras, and it's such a small community up there, so it's been known amongst the community pretty quickly.
So you could see that shift right away, though.
Absolutely, absolutely. We had a lot of violent clients that actually have become way more receptive to the camera, which is surprising, to be honest, but it works. Like, usually it would take about 15 minutes to talk to somebody to get them to calm down. Now they see the camera and it's almost like an immediate physical step back. They're like, okay, I see this. It's a physical cue, a visual cue.
So Corporal Hume, you said you were working up in Toronto, but you're now.
I'm now down here, yeah, I just transferred, yeah.
Is there any way that you could say your name and title for us, please?
Oh, yeah, it's Corporal Janelle Hewlin.
Yeah, please release.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that would be it for questions. I think, thank you. Thanks for coming. Merci.
Thank you.
Members are available for one-on-one if anyone wants to talk to them one-on-one.